So normally I don't do video requests on Netflix shows, but since I was requested by someone who goes by the name of Collins Vincent, I might as well give it a try. The show itself is called Stretch Armstrong and the Flex Fighters. I have noticed that this show has been on Netflix for a while now, and I did watch the entire 13 episodes of the show. But going into this show and seeing the animation, it didn't really seem like something that would interest me. But I gave it a chance anyways because I have a strong passion for action animated shows. And the show, I believe, was created by the same creators of A Spectacular Spider-Man, which is a show I absolutely adore, and this show desperately needs a third season. But is Stretch Armstrong and the Flex Fighters as good as Spectacular Spider-Man? The show follows three teenage superheroes known as Stretch, Omni-Man, and Wingspan. Their alter egos are Jake Armstrong, Nathan Park, and Ricardo Perez, respectively. The trio falls into the stereotypes of the popular nerd, the friendly loser, and the tough but kind-hearted jock. But there's a bit more to their characters than that. The vibe is about the same as any other characters that fall under those tropes. Side note, Stretch Armstrong has the same voice actor as Robin from the Teen Titans, and it can get a little distracting. He does a great job respectively, but it's hard to watch him not to hear the Wonder Boy. The teens gain superpowers by accidentally getting exposed by a chemical of typical superhero origin story. It's done in a bit of a modern way, breaking into the lab, and it was a good excuse to throw in some action as the teens discover their powers. The founder of the company which owns the Chemical Boys are exposed to a hip young genius billionaire type of Jonathan Rook, recruits the teens to be the faces of a superhero team to represent his company. The team is dubbed the Flex Fighters, and are trained by Rook's security task force leader, Malcolm Kane. Kane quickly became my favorite adult characters, mainly because he's one of the few well-rounded characters outside of the main three. The show follows the Monster of the Week format, although it has a long antagonist as well. The villains are about as memorable as any other show, and to me, they gave off a very Miraculous Ladybug meets Power Rangers type of vibe. My favorite villains of the show has to be the Freak Sisters, mostly based off of their Lolita style. Secondary characters could use a bit of work. It was a bit frustrating that the love interest of the show received such little characterization, but with only 13 episodes, it's something that can easily be overlooked. I also didn't care much for Stretch Omni's mask personal family issues, which is a serious complaint. For me, a superhero usually needed a 50-50 split of relevance between their alter ego if the show wants the secret identity thing to feel important. The animation felt a little dated at times, with noticeable CGI used for the background characters' set tracking, which clashed with the second character designs. I think the most notable time was the fight with Quick Change in episode 7. Overall, the animation wasn't the worst. The fight scenes were sometimes good, sometimes mediocre, but I felt overly bored with them. The slower scenes could be nicely paced as well, without the characters appearing to be stiff. The use of color was pretty nice too. Nothing too flashy, but I found myself sort of feeling nostalgic about it. If I didn't know this show premiered in 2017, I would assume it came out around the same time as Batman Beyond or Static Shock, which depending on who they were trying to target as their audience. Overall, the show is okay. It again provided a lot of nostalgia for kids of my age, who grew up on shows like Justice League Unlimited, Generator Rex, X-Men Evolution, Spectacular Spider-Man, Batman Beyond, and many more. The point, besides being a bit of a cash grab, is to make a show about young superheroes, and it accomplishes that pretty alright. There's a lot of throwback references to older franchises, such as the gangs in episode 6 reminding me of one of the Foot Clan from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and another referencing both Catwoman and, in my opinion, the Red Hat Society. Would I watch a second season? Maybe. Mainly because the first ends on a cliffhanger. Can I recommend this show? Yes and no. Don't go into this show expecting a lot. In the future, it would be nice to see more from the other characters, or have the show introduce some of the new heroes to the roster. I have a feeling they will, simply because it's a franchise show. I wasn't bothered by the lack of female superheroes in the lineup. There are plenty of females in the show, but generally more screen time development for any of the characters would be appreciated. I feel like the show was very brisk about the characters themselves and cared more and more about the action flashy imagery. I see a lot of potential for the show though, and if you want to watch some cartoons that don't have a big fandom or following yet, then this is definitely an option. Overall, I give Stretch Armstrong and the Flex Fighters a 6.5 out of 10. It could be better, but who knows, it may get better in the future seasons. And I can definitely say it's better than a lot of animated shows we have on TV nowadays. This is Red Wolf signing out, and I'll see you next time. Peace.